goddamn piece of freaking crap. Oh, right, I'm recording, you can hear me. I'll try and keep it together. Good time to have some dog dreams going on. Where was I? Thank you, Max. What was I saying? I don't even know. Skin on top of your yogurt. So, have you ever wanted to make yogurt? Homemade yogurt? Well, today in this video, I'm going to show you how to make thick, creamy homemade yogurt with just 2 ingredients. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are making yogurt. Yeah, yogurt. I bet you think yogurt is something that's difficult to make. Well, it isn't. And it is. It's kind of complicated. Yogurt is simple. It's 2 ingredients. Full fat milk and full fat yogurt. The difficult part is temperatures, how long to keep certain things at certain temperatures, and then holding it at your temperature at the end to make it into the yogurt. So I'm going to walk you through all of that. One of the things that makes yogurt a difficult thing to make is that you need a dehydrator or something that can keep your milk and yogurt mixture at 115 degrees for between 6 to 12 hours. Generally people use a dehydrator for this. I'm lucky. Well, I can't say that I'm lucky. I purchased a stove, an oven, that has a dehydrator setting right on it. It also has a bread-proof setting, which is awesome, which was another reason why I bought this oven. Pre this oven, I had a dehydrator, which I was actually borrowing, so it wasn't even mine, and that's how I made my yogurt. So if you stick around to the very end of this video, I'm going to give you some tips on what you can do to keep your yogurt at the temperature it needs to stay at to actually become yogurt if you don't have a dehydrator and you don't have an oven. Okay, so we're going to go through the basic ingredients and tools that you need to successfully make yogurt. So number 1, as I said, you need full fat milk. Full fat milk. Don't use skim milk. Don't even use 2% milk. It doesn't make a super flavorful yogurt. And I actually usually use my goat's milk, which is whole milk that still has like all of the fat in it. I don't have any of that right now. So this is just an organic cow's milk. Dog movement. This is an organic cow's milk. And in the past I have added some extra cream on top of the full fat milk. I'm not doing that today, but you can do that if you want it to be even creamier. And this is a yogurt that I already made. So, well, let me show you. This is an organic yogurt from the grocery store, Olympic, which I like the Olympic brand. Now I usually use the crema yogurt, which is an even heavier, I think it's 8%. This is only 4%. But I used this the last time I made yogurt because I didn't have any yogurt that I had already made. So it worked really well. It made a really tasty yogurt. So that was a good one. Whatever yogurt you prefer, not flavored. It has to be plain yogurt. 100% plain, no flavor. It won't make you yogurt. But today I'm using yogurt that I already made out of milk. So once you've made your first batch of yogurt, you want to make sure that you're saving some from your last batch to make your next batch. So other things you're going to need is going to be a pot. Now this is a big pot because I'm doing 6 liters of milk. Now if you were doing this just for yourself and you just want to try it out, I would recommend doing 2 liters of milk, that's 1 jug this size, and 4 ounces of yogurt. This is 12 ounces of yogurt and I'm doing 6 liters of milk, but I'm doing a lot. And then you wouldn't need such a big pot. You also will need a whisk, a spoon. I prefer to use a slotted spoon for this. It helps keep everything mixed together better. It doesn't have to be slotted, but I would recommend a slotted spoon. And a thermometer. Thermometer is vital. You cannot make this recipe unless you have a thermometer. I recommend a digital one. I got this from our local kitchen store, so digital thermometer is easier to read, it's more accurate. I really like this thermometer. It works well. Something else that you're going to need is something to measure. Measuring jars, measuring cups. You'll see that at the end when we start putting this into our containers. And one other thing, which I don't actually have here right now. Hold please. I knew there was something I was forgetting. Okay. And you're going to need some vessels in which to put your yogurt. I use glass canning jars. You don't have to use glass canning jars. You can use any dish with a lid. I highly recommend it to be glass though. Glass jars are good. You can even use reused jars that, I don't know, like spaghetti sauce jars and whatnot that are glass. Anything like that. This is the size that I use, and this recipe that I'm making will fill all of these jars. Okay, so your very first step that you need to do is you need to get your milk in your pot. Pretty easy. Can be a little messy. To come. Okay. So now we've got all of our milk in our pot. We do not add the yogurt yet, but you do want to make sure that your yogurt is out and start shaking it. We want it to be as close to room temperature as it can be by the time we put it into our warm milk. You'll see why once we get there. It's going to take a little while. Okay, now, next up. So this we're going to turn on, but we do not want this to be on high temperature. We don't want this on high. So we're going to turn it down to, for me, about a 2 here on my stove. And a lid. So there's one thing I missed, a lid. First off, just for fun, we're going to give this a quick stir. You don't need to. And so this is going to get left on the stove until it comes up to 180 degrees. Remember that temperature. It's really important. If it gets to 185, that's okay. But you don't want it to go over that. And don't let it get anywhere near 200. It'll boil, and then you'll have ricotta cheese. Ask me how I know. Okay, so as I said, you're going to set your yogurt on your stove at a low-ish, not right on low, just a little bit above low heat. Obviously, you want to keep your eye on it. And you're going to bring it up to 180 degrees. That's what you're aiming for, 180, 185. So that's where your thermometer comes in. It's going to take a while. It will, if your milk was right cold from the fridge, it's probably going to take an hour to come up to that temperature. You don't want this to happen fast. You don't want to scorch your yogurt, or your milk. You don't want to scorch your milk on the bottom of your pot. So slow and steady. But don't forget it. Don't forget that this is on the stove, because you will make ricotta cheese, or a form of it, because it doesn't actually have anything in there to separate the curds and whey. But that's for a different video. If you boil it, you'll ruin it, and you can't go back from that. So keep your eye on it. If you have to, set your timer for like every 10 minutes or so. Come back, check the temperature, give it a stir, and you want to make sure that you keep a lid on it, because if you don't keep a lid on it, it'll form a skin over the top, which isn't really a huge deal, except that then it's kind of lumpy. Later on, when you add everything in, it'll have lumps in it, which doesn't seem to affect the yogurt. My dog's having a bad dream in the background, or a good dream, I'm not sure. Anyways, I don't know if you can hear him. If you keep a lid on top of your pot, it'll prevent that from happening entirely. That will not happen while it's heating. So you're going to keep your eye on this, stir it every 10 minutes or so until it gets up to 180 degrees. So I'll meet you back here once it's at 180 degrees. Almost there, 178, 179. So close. Okay, so we've reached 180 degrees Fahrenheit. What's our next step? Our next step is turn it off, but leave it on the heat. Cover it back over. Set your timer for 5 minutes. So what you're going to do now is you're going to let your yogurt sit for between 5 and 30 minutes at 180 degrees, between 180 and 185 degrees, okay? You have to let it do this. If you do not let it sit for at least 5 minutes, you know, I don't actually know the science behind it, but it has something to do with it breaking down the proteins, and if you don't do that, it's not going to be super thick. Okay, this is the step that you're taking to make your yogurt thick without having to add something like you may have seen some yogurt recipes call for powdered milk. Well, you don't have to add that in order to make this yogurt thick. This step, this is what they do. Through my research, this is what they do to make yogurt, like in the factories. And it works. Lo and behold, it works. It took me a lot of time and research to learn this step, so you're welcome. Yeah, so 180 degrees for at least 5 minutes. I usually leave it for about 10, and with it sitting on the heat, covered, it should stay at 180 degrees. Okay, so the next step in this process, you can do one of two ways. You can do it slow, or you can do it fast. So if you want, you can just let your milk sit off to the side until it's cooled down to about 120 degrees. That can take a while. If you leave the lid off, you're going to have to stir it on a regular basis because it's going to form a skin on top of it. If you keep the lid on, like, so say you did this and you wanted to leave and go out and come back later and continue with it, you can totally do that. And I have done that in the past. It will form a little bit of a skin on the top while it's cooling. It's not really a big deal. So you can definitely just leave this, and even if it's gone down past, like, even if it's gone down to like 110 or even 100, you can still go on to your next step. So don't be too concerned about the temperature. Now what I'm going to do today is I'm going to speed up the process. I'm going to put it in cold water, and that's going to cool it down to my target temperature. So I'm putting my water on as cold as it'll go, and I'm going to fill my sink up with the cold water and put my pot in there. So I'm going to fill this up pretty full. Got my spoon. And remember your yogurt, I shake it because you want it to be really loose when you put it in to your milk. So that's why I keep shaking it. Okay, that's probably full enough. So what I do is I move this water around, and it's going to take the heat away from the pot. It's going to suck the heat out of the pot. Give it a stir, let it sit. Eventually this water won't be ice cold anymore, it'll be lukewarm. We'll drain that out. I'll check the temperature. Put them into your oven at 225 degrees for 10 minutes, and that'll also sterilize the germs. I now have these all rinsed, and I'm just going to go ahead and put them right into my oven right now before it's heated up. Once it's heated up, I'll set it for 10 minutes. It's now 120 degrees. Perfect. So, we have heated up our milk to 180 degrees. We've let it sit. We've cooled it back down to 120 degrees. And here we are. This is where your whisk comes in. I'm going to set this timer 10 minutes so that those guys can get sterilized. They're already sterilized, I'm just overly cautious. Or we're at 116, which is actually pretty good temperature. So now our yogurt comes in. Now if you are making a smaller batch of this, you want to get out a scale and weigh out 4 ounces. This is 12 ounces. I don't know how much 4 ounces is measured. My cat went into my daughter's bedroom, if you're wondering the meowing in the background. Hello! So, we're going to take this yogurt, which should be up to room temperature now, and we're just simply going to pour it. Going to pour it right in here. And I've given up on my phone, so I'm sorry you don't get to see that up close. Maybe one day I'll make a better yogurt video. For right now, this is what you're getting. Okay. So there, we've added that in. And then I use my whisk to make sure it's really mixed in there well. Hi, Bella. You were mean to her. She said you scratched her. You're not allowed in there. Now this is the part where if any skin has formed on top at any time while you're whisking and you bring it up, you'll find that you have chunkies, which don't actually matter. So if that has happened to you, it's okay. You won't notice that in your yogurt at all. Promise. This is our last step. Easy step, but it can be a difficult step. So that I don't spill this everywhere, I'm going to spill this everywhere. I guarantee it to you. Because I almost always make a mess. all you're doing now is getting your yogurt into your jars. Oop. I'm spilling. Oh, look. Give you a little shot of my my audience over there watching me, my kitty. In between this, I always stir to make sure that if there's any yogurt, I want it to be all evenly stirred. Did that make sense? I hope it made sense. Always try and keep some jars on backup. This one's fresh from the dishwasher. And it always works out well because that one can be my either our yogurt, or I always keep some for us and then one yogurt that I need for next time, right? You have to remember that. This isn't like, we're not canning these. We're not sealing them and preserving them or anything. They're just in canning jars. So you don't really have to worry if there's anything around the lid. I was actually incredibly clean, you know, because I'm on camera, so I have to be perfect, right? Usually I spill it all over the place, but I had a good day. So I don't even have to wipe my tops down. But if I do spill around the top, I'll give it a wipe. And I do try and make sure that if it spills down, like because of the way that, like what I'm using, and I've got it in this box, if you were going to do it this way, if there's milk that's spilt down around the bottom, it'll stick in the box when you go to pick it up. And it doesn't look super nice. Remembering that this is at about 115 degrees, and I told you that if you stuck around to the end, I was going to give you a tip or an idea, or 2 or 3 ideas on how to keep this at 115 degrees. So, as I said, for me, it doesn't matter if my milk gets down below 100 and even 110. Like, that doesn't matter. Because I know that I'm putting it into something that's going to keep it at 115 degrees for however long I need it to be. It usually takes like 6 hours. Like, I normally do it like overnight. So 6 to 8 hours for me, and it's yogurt. In my 115 degree oven. Same thing if you're using a dehydrator. Now, it's going to keep it at that temperature, so if it goes a little lower, it doesn't matter. What I'm getting at is that if you don't have something to keep it at 115 degrees, you want to make sure that it's at 115 degrees right now. You want to make sure that your jars are nice and warm. Not too hot, right? But if they come out of a 225 degree oven and you fill it with 120, 116, 18 degree liquid, it's not going to lose that much temperature. And what you're going to do, if you have nothing else, is you're going to wrap this in some towels. Not tea towels, okay? Towels from the bathroom. Probably put them folded a couple underneath, put them over top, and keep it somewhere warm, like on your stove, somewhere that you can keep it warm, the warmest spot in your house. You don't want it to be hot, right? But you get what I'm saying. You want to try and keep it at 115 degrees. I'm going to put my oven at 115 degrees. I'm going to take my yogurt. Pop it in there. And my little extra one. Okay. There. I don't set a timer. I don't need to. It's about 5 o'clock now or so. I turned off my clock there. So tonight before I go to bed, I'll check it, you know, at around 10 or 11 or so. And quite possibly it'll be done. And if it isn't done yet, then I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it in the oven until morning. I might turn it off, depending on where it's at, but I almost guarantee you that tonight at around 10 or 11, it's going to be done. That's how quickly it does its thing. So, yeah. I will come back and see you then. Hi, everyone. So it's the next morning, and our yogurt is all done, all nice and set and nice and thick. And the rooster's having a good morning out there. So you can see how thick this yogurt is when you're done. Now I usually make yogurt with my goat's milk, and I find that that yogurt is a lot tangier than this. So I'm used to plain yogurt, so I don't mind eating plain yogurt. But this doesn't have that like sharp tang, which I like. But this is really good too. Very smooth, very creamy. It's not quite like crema. But it's nice and thick. Like, I'm gonna try and angle this so that you can see like how thick it is inside there. Ooh, angle and make you all crooked. And there's the rest of them. And then these will get labeled. Okay, so that's it. Our yogurt is done. And I hope that this encourages you to make some yogurt of your own, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a like, consider subscribing to our channel, and click the notification bell if you want to see when we have new fun videos uploaded. Okay, have a good rest of your day, guys. See you later. Bye.